you're probably not going to have a very happy life.
Now, as far as entrepreneurs, those who, because we're always right, it's like a roller coaster ride. We can easily give up, and we have sometimes it's hard to stay motivated. What would you tell to us young entrepreneurs, working hard and then they easily want to give up? What would you tell them today?
You just have to keep on putting one foot in
Uh,
front of another.
I love that.
You know,
Yeah.
sometimes in life, you take, like you're climbing a mountain, a peak,
Yeah.
and you take one step forward, and then the shaly area near
Yes.
the top,
Yeah.
and you'll slip back to. Sometimes it's like that, and you just have to, keep moving forward. Maybe you have to skirt to the side and come up a different route, but you have to. You can't. If you give up, chances are there's not going to be anybody else who's going to kind of carry the ball for you. So you and your team, they've got to just keep on marching forward.
There's
But
not a lot of owners that really appreciate and care about employees, so I admire that about you.
I well, thank you. You're very kind.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that. I mean, I think there are some tough people, and sometimes people find me to be tough. But not being nice to employees
Yeah.
doesn't. You don't do well if you have
Yeah.
that approach. You can be super tough, or you can try and be understanding. And frankly, the older I get, I think the softer I get. Um, but on the other hand, you can't get walked over. It's kind of there's a balance.
There's a balance.
But I think part of it is, again, I've been given a gift. I was allowed to take over my parents' company, and basically to do well in life. And a lot of it for me now at this point is kind of like, how do I give back? How do I help this community in my own small way
Yeah.
be a better community?
Yeah.
And that's what drives me. In fact, frankly, at this point in my life, money doesn't drive me anymore. It used to. Money used to drive me when I was younger, but I have enough money, and I have far more than I need. And so you begin to ask yourself, well, how can you make a difference in other people's lives?
Yes.
And that's what drives me. That's part of what drives me to still be a CEO, because I'm basically pretty close to standard retirement age, but I enjoy doing what I do, and I enjoy trying to have a positive influence on this company and trying to have a positive influence on this community.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what turns me on.
Wow, I love that. Yeah, absolutely. As far as investing, are there any recommendations for us young entrepreneurs that you recommend to invest in, or?
I think the biggest thing that you can invest in is yourself.
That's so true.
And I mean, for me, outside of investing in myself, I would say what's worked for me is investing in my own company, basically growing ownership, picking up more shares. I'm not saying that would work for everybody, because not every business makes it, right?
Yeah.
But I basically, have continued to invest in my company. I made my most recent investment in January of 2022. So, I took some, bonus that I had and just invested more in the company. And I didn't need to do that, but I just chose to do it. And the reason I say this is I've had really good results. I know what I'm capable of. I know what my people are capable of. And I know that this company will continue to grow for the foreseeable future. And, my goal someday when I retire is, whether I sell to another company who then, brings in their management and hopefully takes a bunch of ours and runs this company, or maybe I sell it to my company, my employees. But I know the management team that I have in place, as well as the bulk of the workforce, they know what they're doing. They care. they want to do better. They want to grow this company. And, we're just, like, we just continue to have success sort of after success after success.
Wow. Yeah.
And almost every year we grow. And if we don't, it's usually because we grew so much the year before that it's almost like we're, okay, well, and
Yeah.
so usually about every 5 years I'll have an off year where our sales won't grow quite as much as they did the year before. I'm sorry, so they actually decline is what I'm trying to say. But then it's always the year after that we punch forward and go on to new highs. And, it's, as far as it's important that you know your business, that you pay attention to different parts, and more important that you have, if you can't do that, and again, this is like, my CFO refers to AGM as being the world's smallest conglomerate. There's so many different things that are going on here. If you were to walk through the operation, there's so many different types of customers, so many different industries that we're selling to, so many different product lines. Some of the things that I'm most proud of, we've gone, on April 1st of this year, we'll have gone 30 straight years without laying off an employee.
Wow.
That's a really, really, that's something I feel a lot of pride about.
Yeah.
Another one is that our employees have become so generous when it comes to United Way contributions that through United Way alone, we're giving back over $100,000 a year to, the people who are, who benefit through United Way.
Wow.
And once again, these kind of metrics, this is stuff that you just sort of like, measure each year, and you want to sort of get better and better. And not every, things don't always go up, and it's like, okay, well, how can we do better next year?
Yeah. They say money is made to be spent. Would you agree?
I don't know. I mean, money is a great thing. I know some would say, well, money is the root of all evil. I think it's only the root of all evil if you allow it to be so. But it's, money, for example, it helps our employees in their daily lives, but it's also needed in other ways, and something I have to explain to my employees every year is, we need to make profits, not just so I end up getting like more money, or to keep people get more money in our pockets, but, we ultimately have to be able to invest in greater capital expenditures. This very building that we're sitting in, this is something that, we didn't have all the cash for, but we put down $600,000 of the $3 million for the building. And over time, we'll have to not only pay the principal, but we'll have to pay the interest on that. And so you need those profits to be able to do things like that. We needed to buy vehicles. We needed to buy new machinery.
Right.
So we, all of this, and frankly, and we needed to pay our employees' medical bills and dental bills and pharmaceutical bills, and to, they have a defined benefit pension plan where we put all the money into their pension plan every year, and then we have to grow it by 8% per year.
Oh, wow.
We need money to put into the ESOP, so we need all these different things. So, yes, it's important to do what we can the most for the employees, but we also, part of this is educating the employees and making them, helping them to understand, like, it can't all go to you guys. It's got to go to these different things. Once again, it comes down to balance. So you're constantly looking at these different things and trying to make sure that you don't run out of money. So I wouldn't say money is to be spent or money is to be saved. I would say that money is to be managed carefully.
Okay. Okay. Would you consider yourself frugal?
Yes and no. So I was in Peace Corps back in the early 80s, and that experience, I think I was making like $2,400 a year. And so I learned during that time, I think, how to be a lot more frugal. Now, I was living in Africa, so the money kind of would go a lot farther.
Yes.
But but I think because of that and just living, living,
Learning to.
yeah, learning to kind of just like live without things.
Okay.
That's not been a bad thing for me. In fact, ultimately, when after college and Peace Corps, as I went into, I don't know if you knew this or not. I own an ice cream store here in town.
Oh wow, no, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
it was voted best ice cream in Tucson all 5 years that we were in existence. It was on the corner of Campbell and Speedway.
Oh wow.
But during those years, we were really struggling economically. Um, it was a tough business. And then when I got involved in AGM management, we were basically on the ropes. Our bank didn't think we would make it back in the mid 90s. The expenditures from the government for defense had gone down by over 40%. And, we were just kind of like hanging on. But, that was actually a great training for me because I know how to live through hard times. I know that hard times will inevitably return. And you always have to kind of be ready for those hard times to come back.
Wow.
And because you can't control everything,
That's so true.
And so it's very important to kind of like, again, manage resources. I don't know about frugally. It's kind of like you just have to really be asking yourself, where is this money needed the most right now? I'll give you a great example. This great resignation that they referred to as in the year 2022 of a lot of younger employees. We were affected by that. Not anything close to, I think, what most organizations, but you kind of and right now we also have this bout with inflation. Inflation has been running roughly, I think, about 7%, 6 or 7% for like 5 months with the year-to-year inflation rate. And so you have to give more money to employees. You have to provide them with more money because their money is not going as far. And that's just that wasn't necessarily part of my plan, say 6 months or a year ago, but you have to adjust.
Right, adjust.
But I mean, am I frugal? I mean, I don't know. I would probably say I tend to be that way. I will never be able to spend the money that I've made, and it's not because I'm frugal. I just kind of like, I don't need things that everybody else needs. A lot of times people need these sort of like trinkets of success, like
it's like they say old money versus new money.
Yeah.
There are certain people that need the newest car, need the newest house.
Right.
And sometimes you're okay driving an older car.
Yeah. I have my secondary, I mean, the company gives me a car that is 7 years old. I have my other car is 18 years old, the one that I own myself, and it's okay. It's it's kind of like you open the door and for some reason the window comes down and different things, and I just haven't had time to fix it. But I live in a house that's over 40 years old, but it's fine, and sometimes that can actually be fun to sort of like be be fixing up and stuff like that. So I wouldn't call myself frugal because I also like to try and I like to give back to the community too. And there's so many different organizations that need our help, and whether that help is of our time, our talent, or our treasure.
I like that, talent, time, and treasure.
Well, I didn't make that. I didn't come up with that on my own. So that's.
But I like it though.
Okay, yeah. So, but.
Very nice. Well, thank you, Howard,
okay,
so much.
You bet. All right.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right. Thank you.